Mute. Start video. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה
אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב. יאללה לי, יאללה לה 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 לה, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Spike.
All right, let's hear it. The folks who are in the sanctuary. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And the folks who are on Zoom. Shabbat Shalom. Let's hear you. Very good. We heard you all the way from wherever you are. Hi, everybody. Shabbat Shalom and happy Hanukkah. And welcome to Temple Emanu-El and to Emma's Bat Mitzvah. We are so psyched to be here with you, Emma, and with your parents and sister and family, and with all of your community and family and friends from all over. Friends, let me just give you sort of a picture for those of you who aren't in the sanctuary of what things look like. So on the bima, we have Emma and her folks, and Sid is sitting a couple feet behind, and they are unmasked because they are far away from the rest of us. We have some family and a friend who's coming soon who are about 40 to 50 feet away, and they are seated with masks, and they'll have their masks on the entire time, even when they come up for their honors and aliyah. And then we have Rabbi Rachel and I, and we are across the room, probably 50 to 60 feet away from Emma. And we are, as you can see, wearing masks just so we keep everybody safe with the singing that we might do. And this way we can have a simcha, we can have a joyous celebration, do it in the sanctuary, which is a gorgeous space, but do it in a way that is safe and wonderful for everybody. A couple words to the wise. One, if you have distractions around you, wherever you are, try to still those distractions so you can really be here with us and focused. Second, we're going to be using this red Siddur, which I know the link was sent out to Rosenfeld friends. If you're with us via Facebook, it's been pinned to the page so that you can follow along. This is a highly participatory service, right, Emma? So when we're clapping or snapping or tapping our feet or la-la-laing or singing along or whatever it is, participate however you can, most especially for the folks who are in the sanctuary, because that energy that we have is going to be reflected back and forth from Emma back to us many times, like light reflecting off mirrors. The idea here, Emma, is not doing anything perfectly, right? The idea is that you're leading us, that you are showing us that you have studied and prepared for so long, Emma, for these 90 minutes. And in doing so, you lead us, our community, in prayer, in higher thinking, and gain the confidence and momentum to take you to all the next stages of your life as a participant, as a young Jewish woman, and as a leader. The real benchmark for success here is, can we connect in a profound way, Emma? Can we connect to something bigger than ourselves in this moment? Can you connect to your parents and your grandparents? Can you connect to your Jewish community? Can you connect to your history? Can you connect to your mission or purpose in life, to the Torah, to God, to your soul? That's what we're doing here, right? And this is all a way for us to do this with the loving, embracing tradition of our Shabbat morning service and the cheer that comes from this simcha in the midst of everything that's going on, Emma. You have provided us a chance for joy, elevation. So thank you. to your mom and dad for doing this, not just for you, Dayenu, and not just for your family, Dayenu, but for all of us. It's a really big deal, and we want to thank you very, very much. It is so good to be here together, folks. Hine Matov, page 4. Join in with your claps, your snaps, your voice, however you want to do it.
Matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov, yalla vai, yalla lai, yalla la 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 lai. Hine matov, yalla lai, yalla la 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 lai. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Of course, everybody knows Emma, and Rabbi Rachel Klein-Miller is right here to my left. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Take a moment or two or three and reach out to the folks that you see and you don't see on Facebook or Zoom and wish them a Shabbat Shalom, a happy Hanukkah, give them a shout out. How are you? Emma, wave, look right over there, look at Mark right there, and wave to all your friends and family from everywhere. Wonderful. So Emma, there are, in this journey, there are many, many signs or benchmarks, road marks for what we call a transition, for what we call a rite of passage from being a Jewish girl to a Jewish woman, all of which is happening hocus pocus in these next 90 minutes, okay? One of them, which is so profound in its simplicity, is the talit. So in a moment, your parents, Philip and Kelly, are going to present you with your talis. According to tradition, Emma, before your bat mitzvah, you are not allowed to publicly don or wear your talis because it's a sign of a Jewish adult. This morning, for the first time, as a sign of becoming a Jewish adult, you are going to be gifted with this talis, and with it, feeling the embrace and the wrap of 4,000 years of Jewish tradition, community, peoplehood, and mission. Philip and Kelly, if you're ready.
As this tali is draped around your shoulders, may the voice of the generation speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on the earth.
As you are embraced in the folds of this talit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and the holy congregation. May the simplest of garments always be for you a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence.
As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in this tali, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of your tradition, of our tradition.
Now, Emma, you're going to say the blessing.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiyishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzit.
And we all say amen.
Amen.
And now mom and dad are going to wrap the talis around you and fix your hair and do whatever they need to do just so that you're comfortable. Sydney, can I ask you to come and join mom up there for a moment? And family, put your arms around each other, because we know, your family knows, our community knows, our people know that sometimes people come together for sad reasons. This one, super, super happy. And so what we Jews do when we know we're experiencing a particular type of time that we want again and again, we sing Shehechianu. Literally, thank you, God, for this moment of time that we're here, that we're breathing, that we're together. May we have this type of holiness, connection again and again and again. Page 5, please join us, Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kimanu v'hikianu Wasman Haseh.
Okay, Cindy, we can have you sit down. Emma, you're going to continue on page 6. Lead us with this intention.
God be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness, inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Beautiful. So in a moment, Emma, you're going to lead us on page 7 for Nasim B'Choyom, which are the daily miracles of life. And for all who are with us, on the right-hand side of the page, you'll see the Hebrew. And on the left-hand side of the page, you'll see the English. And in the middle, you'll see the transliteration of the Hebrew. Emma, each of these blessings of daily miracles is an exercise for us in gratitude, recognizing what's around us, seeing with open eyes what's around us that we might otherwise, with the fast pace that our lives take for granted. Each of them is supposed to be taken literally and metaphorically. So for instance, and they all start the same, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, linking the miracles in our life to the source, right? Which we call God, the source. And then there's a couple words after, for instance, whose power lifts up the fallen, both those who physically fall, but also metaphorically, those who fall in other ways, that there's a strength, really a miracle that can help lift them back up, lift us back up when we are down. So when you lead us in these, what I'd ask everyone to do is to respond with an amen at the end of each of the cadences, but also to pick which of the prayers this morning from the Nasim B'Choyom most speaks to you. Emma, which one has your name on it? Philip, which one has your name on it? Kelly, which one has your name on it on the occasion of your daughter's bat mitzvah? Okay, Emma, whenever you're ready.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan l'sech vivina, lechavin ben yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, roka haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hanoten le'aif koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavir shinai me'enai, utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani bat chorin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Oter Yisrael b'tifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
Beautifully done. So in a moment, you'll lead us in Ashrei on page 10. Emma, have you a memory in your life, and maybe it happens all the time, of going through your day or something's happening and all of a sudden you have an expression of wow, just like wow, like life and the world is so, boom, amazing, right? And it could be something big that happens, and it could be something really sublime and subtle, the way the light hits a flower at a particular time of day, or the feeling that comes in your home when there's a particular type of exchange. It's almost an overwhelming sense of wow and gratitude. That's what the Ashrei prayer helps us to recognize and to feel. The wow that is around us all the time, and once in a while we have the seichel, the wisdom, and the openness and presence to experience it. Please lead us, if you would, Ashrei, Psalm 145, page 10.
Ashrei yoshvei veitecha, od yehallelu Selah.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am she'Adonai Elohav.
Tehillah leDavid, aromimcha Elohai hamelech, va'avarcha shimcha leolam va'ed.
Bechol yom avarchecha, v'halala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gedol Adonai umhulam me'od, v'li gdulato ein cheker.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, ugvurotecha yagidu.
Hadar kavod hodecha, v'divrei niflaotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz norotecha yomeru, ugdulatcha asaprena.
Zecher rav tuvcha yabiu, v'tzidkatecha yiranenu.
Chanun verachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdal chased.
Tov Adonai lakol, v'rachamav al kol ma'asav.
Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Kavod malchutecha yomeru, ugvratecha yidaberu.
Lehodia livnei ha'adam gvurotav, ukvod hadar malchuto.
Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, umem shaltecha bechol dor vador.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanoflim, v'zokef l'chol hakfufim.
Einecho elacha yesaberu, ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, umasbia l'chol chai ratzon.
Tzadik Adonai bechol derachav, ve'chasid bechol ma'asav.
Karov Adonai l'chol korav, l'chol asher yikra'uhu ve'emet.
Ratzon yira'av yaseh, ve'et shavetam yishma ve'yoshiem.
Shomer Adonai et kol ohavav, ve'et kol harshaim yashmin.
Tehillat Adonai yadaber pi, v'verech kol basar shem kodsho le'olam va'ed.
Va'anachnu nevarech ya, me'ata ve'ad olam, hallelujah.
Emma, if you'll lead us responsibly on page 13, friends, with the italics, we all join in.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter the doorway to a richer, more meaningful life.
You'll find Baruch on page 15. Baruch, we're going to ask our guests to stand. Baruch means, well, please rise. Baruch means that we are ready, Emma, that we are warmed up, that we are here. Hineni, we are in the zone. Here we go.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai, HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Emma, the Yotzer Or prayer on page 15 is one that does two things, at least two things. One, it thanks God for creation, stam, just creation, that we're all here. But that can be a little bit too remote for some of us. So Emma, what it does is it allows us to give thanks that each morning when we wake up, each day when we wake up, we have a chance to engage in creation anew, that we are not cemented into what happened yesterday or yesterday's yesterday, that each day that we wake up, we have the chance to recreate ourselves and our surroundings according to the very best of who and what we can be. Will you lead us, please, on page 15, Yotzer Or?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvarei choshech, osei shalom uvarei et hakol. Hama'ir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha berachamim, u'tuvo mechadesh bechol yom tamid ma'aseh bereshit. Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam bechochma asita, ma'a ha'aretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseh yadecha, ve'al mora or she'asita yafarucha sela, or chadash al Zion ta'ir v'nitzkei kulanu, v'chara le'oro, Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer hama'arot.
Beautiful, beautiful and beautifully done. Emma, in a moment, Ahava Rabbah, God's abundant love, is on page 16. And I'll tell you a personal piece. When my kids were a little bit younger, and my kids are about the same age as you and your sister, and we've got a little one as well. When they were younger, before bed, we would sing them a little song. And the song was pretty simple. It was like, Mama loves you, Daddy loves you, Grandpa loves you, Grandma too. And we would, in these moments, we would name everybody in their life who loved them, teachers and friends and relatives. And at the end of this sometimes long song, we would put in God, that God also loved them. And what a great way for a child to go through life, knowing that she or he is loved and seen and appreciated and supported, not just by an amazing family, which is incredible, but by an extended community and, according to your religion, the divine. That God is in your life and loves you abundantly, loves the Jewish people abundantly, loves each and every person and each and every people abundantly without mutually being exclusive. There is more than enough love to go around. So Emma, will you lead us on page 16 for Ahava Rabbah?
Ahava Rabbah Ahavtanu Adonai Eloheinu, Chemla Gedola V'Torah Chamalta Aleinu, Ba'avor Avotenu Ve'imotenu, Shbarchu V'cha V'lamdem Chukei Chayim, Kain Techanenu Utlamdenu, Hamrachem rachem aleinu, v'tein belibenu lehavin ulhaskil, lishmor lilmod ulelamed, lishmor v'laasot, ulkayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, habacher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Very good. And now we feel our feet on the floor as we get centered for the Shema. Emma, this is probably the first prayer that you ever learned, the Shema. It's typical for a Jewish child that this is the first prayer that she or he will learn. And we say the Shema throughout our week and throughout our year and throughout our lifetime many, many times, almost like sewing and coming back to the same place again and again and again. Traditionally, this is the last prayer that a Jew says before she or he passes, before she or he dies. So what you have is almost a weave that brings us back to this particular moment, this declaration. And I would bet, Emma, that this Shema that we'll say with our hands over our eyes in order to concentrate, that this Shema will be one that you will remember for the rest of your life. Everybody get centered. Here we go.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuta Le'olam Va'ed.
We can be seated wherever we are. And in a moment, you'll lead us in V'ahavta, which is a continuation of the Shema on page 18. Emma, the V'ahavta, through its prayer, the words of prayer, asks a very important question. And the question is, when is it that we are supposed to lead our lives Jewishly? That we're supposed to bring forth the very best of who and what we are and what we could be? When are we supposed to have God on our mind to realize and recognize our potential and make the right choices? When are we supposed to do that? And the answer that's given, it first seems like a really clear answer. And the answer is, well, when you stand up and when you sit down and when you're on your way. In other words, always. But here's the problem, Emma. To always be mindful of doing something is really hard to do. It is. It's really hard to do. And so I'm going to ask you to do with us, Emma, you're going to lead us in something very difficult. Ready? We're going to take a couple of deep breaths together. All right, I want you to lead us with this. So everybody together, a nice deep breath in and out. In, out. So what you have just led us in doing, Emma, is breathing. Something that you've been doing literally since the moment you were born. Yet when you focus on it, when you're mindful of it, it takes on a different intention. That deep breath that you're taking allows the blood to flow through your body, allows you to live, allows your brain to function at higher levels, allows you to hug and strive and create all through that breath. So what the V'ahavta does is a reminder that we have reminders that we really can be much better than the influences that are tugging us at different directions. That we have a potential, each of us individually and as a people, that we can be so good. The V'ahavta is a reminder of that. Would you lead us in V'ahavta on page 18?
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol avivcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech ושופך ופקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Okay, on page 19, I'm going to ask Jessica Lazarus to come on up. Jessica, keep your mask on even through the reading and go over to that T right over there. You see the T on the floor by the microphone? Look at the microphone. There's a T. I want you to place your toes on either side of the T. Okay, and you can look right into the microphone. The camera will pick you up. And please lead us in the responsive reading on page 19.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
You were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, and forgives.
Standing at the sea, we felt your goodness and your love, and we sang a new song to you. And still today, we sing that song.
We
Praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel.
Micha Mocha can be found on page 20.
Oops, sorry, my mic fell. There we go. Yai lai 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 la 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 yai lai 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 la 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 yai lai 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 la 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 yai lai 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 ya la 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 Micha Mocha Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai Micha Mocha ne'edah b'kodesh Nora tehilot osei pele Nora tehilot osei pele Shir HaDashah shibechu gelim L'shimcha asfat hayam Yachad kulam hodu Vehimlichu ve'yameru Adonai imo le'olam va'ed Adonai imo le'olam va'ed Micha Mocha Micha Mocha ba'elim Adonai Micha Mocha ne'edah b'kodesh Nora tehilot osei pele Nora tehilot osei pele P'sur Yisrael
Please rise.
Kuma be'ezrat Yisrael Ufdechinu mecha Yehuda ve'Yisrael Go aleinu Adonai tzvaot shema Kedosh Yisrael Baruch ata Adonai Gal Yisrael.
Amen. So folks who are at home, if you would rise where you are. We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. We find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. The struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming or transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. In a moment, we'll be on page 21 for our standing prayer of the Amidah. Emma, we enter into this prayer not in a vacuum. We remind ourselves in the divine that you have what's called a yichus. You have connection. That doesn't start with you, doesn't even start with your parents or your grandparents, although all of them have this. This goes back thousands of years, hundreds of generations to your foremothers and forefathers. And in their name, we begin our prayer asking for the intentions of our heart, Emma, to transfer into words of our lips and actions of our hands. Page 21.
Adonai sefer tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Chakol, v'Zocher Hasmei Avot v'Imaot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Yoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechakel chaim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Mishenei afar, Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umido melach, Melech memit, Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
I'd like to invite Marley Gordon to come on up to lead us in the reading on page 23 responsively.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied in its path.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is
There's holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Kedusha, page 24.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה על זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך כל הארץ, Hatirenu Adonai, Adonenu ma'atir shimcha bechol haaretz, Baruch kevod Adonai mimkomo. Echanu Eloheinu, u'avinu u'malkeinu, u'moshireinu ve'hu yashmienu, v'rachamav ve'imei kol chai. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzio, L'dor v'dor, Hallelujah. L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, Nagim Galecha. L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, L'dor v'dor, Nagim Galecha. U'lenitzach nitzachim, kedushatecha nakish, kedushatecha nakish,
shikaka, Eloheinu mikinu lo yamush, le'olam, and here comes your part, Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador, Nagigan Lecha, Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador,
Lidor Vador, Nagigan Lecha. King HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. King HaMelech Gadol, Gadol v'Kadosh, Gadol v'Kadosh Ata. Baruch Ata Adonai,
Shmo.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Okay, friends, we can have a seat. Emma, will you lead us on page 25 responsibly?
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismahu, page 26.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Mekadashei shavi Shabbat. Gumitu v'chashabat, Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Ratzita bo v'kidashto Shabbat, Chemdat yamin, Oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Zecher v'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher v'maaseh v'reishit Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat v'koreh oneg Shabbat.
We'd ask Barbara Rosenfeld to come on up to lead us in the reading on page 27 responsibly. Barbara, come on up.
For all these things of Savior God, let your name be forever.
So we're going to go. Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes and we see nothing. And then we all join in and say,
but miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. When we are bruised,
which page?
On page 27.
Oh, well, I was on 27. So is
So on
it
the top, page
top.
27.
Is it when one world is full?
Yes, so just skip down now
I'm
to
sorry.
when we are bruised. It's okay. When we are bruised.
All right. When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, What miracle moves us?
When
We see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For
All these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever.
Thank you, Barb. Okay, Sydney, come on up. We're going to ask you to lead us on page 28 with our intention, which we will do responsibly.
Our God, we know there is no greater gift than peace. Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Sim Shalom, page 28. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uveracha. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim. Chen v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Sim Shalom, Tova Uveracha.
So I ask us all to take a moment of silent reflection, silent meditation. Emma, in this silence, what is it that you hear?
Oh, say shalom bimrama. Oh, yeah, I say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Philip and Kelly, as parents, this is certainly a rite of passage for us as well, right? I mean, we really feel it. And you had Sydney's bat mitzvah a couple of years ago, and now Emma's. And boy, do you feel like adults in this moment, I'm sure. So there's a beautiful conglomeration of prayers from the Talmud, which is on page 31, which we've labeled as the parent's blessing. These are words that we're going to ask you to impart to your daughter on this special day, and with it, carrying the words of the sages and their families and parenthood and blessings for a bright and amazing and meaningful future for Emma as she goes from this moment into what is beyond. Would you lead us in that, the parent's blessing on page 31?
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. May you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue and your vision be on the straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Okay, and friends, we're going to ask everyone to rise, please, for our Torah service, which you'll find on page 32.
All right, and Philip, at this time, go ahead and pick up that Torah. Ki mitzion teitzei Torah, ki mitzion teitzei Torah, udevar Adonai mirushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. All right, friends, so Emma, in just a minute, you're going to get that Torah passed to you. And we know that in our minds, we have, of course, Jan and Mike Blumenfeld, as well as Barbara Rosenfeld, sending that grandparent energy to you and here present this day. And then, of course, Marshall Rosenfeld, sending that energy to you, looking down, so very proud of you today, Emma. And I want you to imagine this chain of tradition. Can you do that with me? I want you to imagine all the people in your life who needed to exist, all the people who existed way before your life, Emma, in order for you to be able to stand here this day. And each of those individuals, Emma, they are holding you up. And we can imagine them circling around, not just the sanctuary, the doors are open. So the whole social hall, we imagine all of the people who brought you to this very moment in time so that you could carry on our tradition and read from the Torah today. And so now I'll ask that Philip go ahead and pass to Kelly for a hug, hug, kiss, kiss. And now you can go ahead and pass to Emma. And just like we practiced, fix that hair, get nice and comfy. You feel good with it? It's a little heavy, right? The weight of our people, it's hard to hold up, but we trust you and we know that you can do it and stand strong and proud for all of the Jewish people today. And so we continue joining together with Shema, page 33. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav. Now you may undress the Torah. Lecha Adonai Hagidula, Hagivura, V'hatiferet, V'hanetzach V'hahod. Ki ho bashamayim uvaretz, ki ho bashamayim uvaretz. Lecha Adonai hamamlacha, V'mitnaseh lechol erosh. All right, friends, please be seated. And on this particular Shabbat morning, we are going to go ahead and either jump backwards or jump forwards, depending on how you look at it this morning, as Emma's bat mitzvah was a little bit postponed due to, this whole global pandemic thing. And so now we finally have the opportunity in 2020 to hear these words of Exodus be chanted for us today. So we're in Exodus chapter 35, verses 1 through 12. And for our first aliyah, we call to the microphone Kevin Blumenfeld. Ya'amad Chaim ben Avraham la'aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacharbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. And Emma, once you get your yad on that first word, we invite you to begin.
Amen. Vayakel Moshe es kodat b'nei Yisrael vayomer alehem ele hadvarim asher tziva Adonai la'asot otam sheshet yamim ta'aseh melacha uvayom hashve'i yihye lachem kodesh Shabbat Shabbaton Adonai kol ha'osevo melacha yumat lo tavaru eish bechol moshevatechem bayom hashabbat.
Yishar kachech, beautiful. And Kevin, our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Air hugs, air kisses up to the family, and you may be seated. Thank you. Thank you. For our second aliyah, we call forward Mike Blumenfeld, Jan Blumenfeld, and Barbara Rosenfeld. Ya'amdu Avram ben Sadi, Chana bat David Baruch la'aliyah. And Barbara, if you want to come around to the other microphone, you can do that. Or you'll all be together.
Mike's going to represent.
Oh, perfect. Beautiful.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bacharbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Moshe el kol adat b'nei Yisrael le'emor zeh hadavar asher tziva Adonai le'emor kechu meitechem teruma l'Adonai kol nediv libo yevi'eha terumat Adonai zachaf v'chesef unechoshet Utechelet va'agarman v'tola'at shani v'sheish v'izim.
Beautiful, beautiful. And our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam notah b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'torah.
Amen. Air hugs and air kisses up to the family. Wonderful. Thank you. You may be seated. And for our third aliyah, it is my pleasure to call up to the bima. I don't know. Go on your tiptoes, right? Like you came up. There you go. Kelly, Philip, and Sydney Rosenfeld, proud mom, dad, and sister. Ya'amdu, Sivia bat Avram, Feivel ben Moshe, Sarah bat Feivel Vasivia, the Aliyah.
Baruch et Adonai Habarach.
Baruch Adonai Havarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'orot elim meodamim, ve'orot tachashim, v'atzei shitim, ve'shemen lamaor, uvisamim l'shemen hamishcha, ve'liktoret hasamim, ve'avnei shoham, ve'avnei miluim, la'ephod ve'lachoshen.
Beautiful. And our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Perfect. And so, Emma, at this time, put your yad right where you need it for your next word, and mom and dad will watch it close. And once you have that marked, go ahead and we'll invite you to take a seat. And so, Emma, the reason we have you sit down in this moment is so that we can prepare to formally call you up, that we have been building up in our prayers to the height of the Torah service, to this exact moment when we get to call you to the bima officially as a bat mitzvah. You've led us so beautifully in prayer throughout this service, and you've brought such honor to your family and to your whole Jewish community, and it is my honor to now call you to the bima. Yita'amod Esther bat Feivel Vasivia the Aliyah. When you're ready, say our blessing for before the reading of the Torah. Baruch Adonai Habarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'chol chacham lev bachem yavo v'yasu et kol asher tziva Adonai et hamishkan et oholo ve'et michsevu et kerasav ve'et kerashav et brihav et amudav ve'et adonav et ha'aron ve'et badav et ha'kaporet ve'et parochet hamasach.
Beautiful. And as you get ready to chant our blessing for after the reading of the Torah, just turn that microphone to catch your voice a little bit more. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful. So I'm going to ask Mom and Dad to put a hand on a shoulder of Emma's shoulder. Yeah, there you go. And I'm going to ask those who are in the sanctuary to please rise. I'm going to ask those who are at home, wherever you are, also to rise. Emma, you just chanted beautifully, and you have led us in a service beautifully. And now we are going to do a special Misha Barach blessing for your continued spiritual development. That this serves as a cornerstone for you to recognize and to push off of, to spiritually take yourself to the potential and the heights that we know and trust that you can go. Do it in Hebrew and then English. Misha Barach Avatenu Vimatenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah Hu Yavarech Et Esther Bat Feivel Vasivia Shehagia Lamitzvot La'Allah L'Torah HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yismei Reha V'Chayeha V'Chonen Et Liba Liot Shalem im Adonai Elohecha. Lago Torah tola lecha bidrachav lishmor mitzvotav v'tim sechen v'sechel tov v'nei Elohim v'adam v'namar.
Amen.
May the God who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Emma, who's come up for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah, walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people. And together we can all say,
Amen.
okay, everybody may be seated.
All right, Philip, if you'll just grab the Torah cover, or Kelly.
Oh,
And we'll place that on top of our Torah. And Emma, you can get out your Devar Torah, your sermon that you have prepared to share with us this morning.
Okay.
And Mom and Dad, if you want to take a seat, you can, or stay right up there.
All right. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Vayakal from the book of Exodus. My Torah portion talks about the blueprints of the Mishkan, otherwise known as the traveling tabernacle of my Israelite ancestors. There are 4 parts to the Mishkan. The first one is everybody has to contribute something to the project for it to work. The second is it's not an easy project. There's lots of moving parts and it's complex. Third, those who want to volunteer to give more of themselves can. They're called Chacham Lev, or wise hearts. Finally, when it's successful, God will come down and dwell amongst us. My modern Mishkan, or how God dwells with me, is creating a society that cares for each other. It conforms with the rules of the Mishkan because it can't be a caring, kind society if we don't all contribute to it. Also, it isn't easy for all of us to create this kind of society. We have to think about what we say and do all the time. The wise hearts are people who volunteer to help others in times of need without being asked for it. God will come down and dwell amongst us when it's successful because it is a peaceful society that can be rewarded with the presence of God. The special gift I can bring to my modern Mishkan is kindness. My mitzvah project was going to be helping out at a couch shelter called Fur Kids. However, I haven't been able to do this because of coronavirus, but I plan on doing it more in the near future. The shelter takes care of cats that would otherwise be killed, so it is important we are kind and humane to them. I encourage all of you to go and volunteer and spend time with the cats so they can receive kindness. When God dwells amongst us in a society that cares for each other, it means he is dwelling in peace. It is a reward for us to creating a peaceful space. It means we can have small miracles in our everyday world simply for being kind. If we come together to do this, maybe we can fix and heal the world. Becoming a bat mitzvah means that I am now an adult in the Jewish community. This means I am becoming more responsible and capable of making my own decisions in life. I plan on doing more things for myself, like deciding what I want to do as a Jew and playing a bigger role in the Jewish community. As an adult in the Jewish community, I plan on participating in Torah study so I can learn more about our history and what others think about it. I want to join a synagogue when I grow up. This will keep me involved in the community, and I will attend services. The Jewish value, Shemirat HaTeva, means to protect nature in both big or small ways. It's important to protect nature because we should take care of the earth and what it gives us. We shouldn't ruin what helps us survive and grow. I make this value a part of my life by making sure to recycle and by maintaining a garden. I also have 2 dogs that I make sure to love. I'll keep helping the planet by planting trees, owning more pets, and having my own personal garden. In doing so, I will live out the value of Shemirat HaTeva. Another important part of my Jewish identity is Israel. Israel is important to me because it's my homeland and a lot of Jews live there. Also, the Western Wall is there, which is the last remaining part of the Temple of Jerusalem. I demonstrate my love for Israel by praying at Hebrew school and learning about our history. I will continue to do this by hopefully visiting Israel and the Western Wall to pray and learn while inside the country. I want to say my thank yous to everyone who has stuck by me along the way. Thank you to my friends who have been with me along the way, and thank you to my tutor, Joanne, for teaching me and making sure I pronounce Sacha. Thank you to Marley and all my rabbis for helping me prepare for my bat mitzvah and be more confident in my chanting and writing. Thank you, Grandpa, for giving good back scratches and making me laugh. And thank you, Grandma, for going out shopping with me and Sydney and dealing with our teenage angst. Thank you, Nana, for being sweet and supplying us with tons of candy. Even though you aren't with us anymore, thank you, Pops, for teaching me how to gamble and telling me funny stories. Thank you, Mom, for giving me many hugs and being so patient while being amazing at raising me, even if it doesn't show. Thank you, Dad, for being silly. I will never, ever, 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 ever not make references with you. Thank you, Sydney, for sticking with me and making me who I am today. You're the best sister I could have asked for. Finally, thank you to everyone who has come from near and far, and to those who can't make it today. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Beautiful. So on page 39, we're going to rise for our service.
We will conclude our Torah service with these words of Eitz Chaim. Eitz Chaim hi lama chazikim ba v'tomcheha me'ushar deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha v'nashuva Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
Please be seated. So Emma, the rabbis and cantor of the synagogue have said this many times before. You've probably heard it many times before, but now I think you really get it. It is of all the things we get to do as rabbis and clergy here at Temple Emanu-El, what we've been doing with you the last many months is our most favorite thing, which is to get to know you at a deep level and to study Torah Lishma, study for the sake of higher thought, higher thinking. The bat mitzvah is not just leading us in our service, which is a very big deal, and not just chanting the words of Torah, cementing you into the chain of the tradition, but also giving the Devar Torah, which you did so beautifully. It is the interpretation of the words that you have chanted through the lens that is uniquely, Emma, you. The context, of course, for this Mishkan that you spoke about and creating this society with all its moving parts, complexities, where everyone has to participate, and those who are Chacham Lev, the wise hearts, can contribute extra, is a big deal, not just in itself because of the context of which it comes. And this is important. We're supposed to read into these words. All of this happens, Emma, after the society of the Torah, the Israelites have fallen to probably our lowest that we ever had. And that's the sin of the golden calf and the worshiping of a foreign god and all this right after the freeing from Exodus. So we were as a people, and read into this here, we were as a nation lost and divided, split, at odds with each other. We weren't what we were before we had come out of the slavery, but we weren't yet free. Our bodies were free, but in our minds, we still thought like slaves. And so this fall, this sin of the golden calf, which precedes your Torah portion, is one that recognized us for what we were, adolescents in our development, having made not just mistakes, but a big mistake. And so God gives us this task as a way of redeeming ourselves. Could we as a nation, as a civilization, take our confused, wandering, conflicted selves, and could we form ourselves into something that was much, much better, not based on power and avarice, greed, but based on, as you said, kindness and and compassion, not seeing others for what you can get from them, but seeing every single person as equal, created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. So here you have this ancient story, which you put through your own personal lens, but really what we're talking about is right now, aren't we? A nation conflicted and divided, split, at odds, lost. And yet it takes the charge of leaders, not necessarily the elected ones, sometimes the ones like you, standing up in front of a congregation, saying that we can do better, we can be better, and we each have to participate in this for it to happen. We each have to give the very best of who and what we are to create a land and a society which reflects the very best of who we could be. That in itself is the reward. That's God's presence coming to dwell amongst us. It doesn't just happen, we have to do it. I would also add one other piece to this, and this really reflects you. According to our tradition, the one who led the construction of the Mishkan was a 13-year-old artist, a 13-year-old creative. Because at 13, you are right in the middle. You can receive, but yet lead on, the society, the peers. That you have enough openness to see the vision of what could be, but your feet firmly on the ground, a foot in both worlds. A creative, an artist is the one who can do this type of thing. And as we know, that's very much who you are, right? A leader, a thinker, from a family of thinkers with a fantastic sense of humor, very real, down-to-earth people, yet ones that see what we can be. So we are, as rabbis, proud to be in your life, psyched that you're a part of who we are as a community, and eager to see where you, Emma, are going to take us.
Emma, you are kind. You are so smart and dedicated. And Emma, you are powerful. You have an amazing group of friends. There is nothing that warms my heart more than seeing you have the chance to be, this darn microphone today. Than seeing you have the chance to be surrounded by that warmth and by that little crew that we all know you've got here at Temple Emanu-El. Don't let go of them. And because I know they're so important to you, I know that that's what's made 2020 a little tough, a lot tough. And you have shown such resiliency through all the things life has thrown your way this year. From transitioning from a Havdalah service to a morning service and mastering those prayers with such ease and grace. And it has been so wonderful to study with you and to learn with you. And Emma, we will be so blessed by your continued presence in our congregation because the little ones, they really adore you and look up to you. And it is your task now as Bat Mitzvah to be their teacher. Just like you have taught us today, we know that you will continue to teach the children of this congregation here at Emanu-El, and we are just so thrilled to continue to follow your amazing growth, leadership, and confidence. And so now it is our pleasure as rabbis to bless you once more today. And normally we'd be nice and close with the Ner Tamid up above you, which it still is, representing the continued light of our people, the Torahs surrounding us behind you in the ark, Israel over your left shoulder, America over your right shoulder, and you standing strong to receive this blessing. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisarnei panav elecha, v'yasemnecha shalom.
May God's face turn toward you, Emma, and grant you the greatest gift of all, ne'er to meet above your head, surrounded by history and opportunity, family and community, your whole life ahead of you, a sense of wholeness, a sense of completeness, a sense of peace. For that we say,
Amen.
okay, we're going to invite up Mom and Dad to say some nice words, impart some wisdom to you.
Emma, you have worked very hard to be here today in this spot as a bat mitzvah. You have shown dedication and commitment to your Jewish studies. You took the time every week to observe and learn. Of course, this doesn't go without saying how less than 2 weeks prior to your initial bat mitzvah date that the world changed. Everything was put on hold. I want to commend you on how well you handled the situation with it being out of everyone's control. We as a family went through several emotions together, but finally we are here. Thank you for being patient. I also want to thank you for being a wonderful, caring, bright, strong, and happy daughter, sister, granddaughter, niece, and everything else in between. So now your journey as a Jewish adult is in full swing. This includes taking on responsibilities as a full member of the Jewish community. In this, you are guided by our traditions and teachings, which have been handed down from generation to generation, from grandma, from grandpa, from Nana, and Pops, who was here with us in spirit today. We are so proud of you. We love you. Enjoy this moment. And with that, I'll lead into a prayer. God, we give thanks for the wondrous privilege of seeing our daughter grow day by day, month by month, and year by year, and now today as a bat mitzvah. May the teachings of our heritage and the Torah guide her throughout life. May her dedication and determination lead her to passions which are rewarding and fulfilling. May the love of family and friends bring her joy and happiness, strength and security, warmth and tradition. Amen.
Okay. I am going to try not to cry, but no guarantees. I already cried when she was reading Torah, which is, I don't even know what they're saying, but Emma, I'm so proud of you today, but I'm proud of you every day for your love, and your kindness, compassion, strength, courage, and fearlessness. Did you all know that she's an adrenaline junkie? She would gladly jump out of an airplane. She's crazy. You're such a rule follower. I'll tell you to skip mitzvah practice if you're busy and you yell at me. I'm so proud of you as a Jew. You take it seriously. I remember when you were little, we went on a mini vacation to Serenbe for winter break. There was another family there with small girls, and we were chatting with them. It was the day after Christmas, and the father turned to you and Sydney and asked what you got for Christmas. You looked at me timidly as if to say, what do I say? And I said, it's okay, you can say it. And then you proudly proclaimed that you were Jewish. I feel that was a very important moment in your Jewish life. As many of you know, I went to Poland in February with the Jewish Women's Connection of Atlanta. 47 women spent 5 days touring Jewish Poland, or what used to be Jewish Poland. Our family immigrated during the turn of the century, so I never had an immediate connection to the Holocaust, yet I've always been fascinated by the subject. How can our religion be so offensive to need to kill 6 million people? On that trip, our guide said that it's our responsibility to carry on. It's the Jewish women that will carry us on. I was on a trip with a woman whose father-in-law survived 11 camps, Norbert Friedman. He had previously told this story just after liberation. This is his story. Dusk was slowly setting in the room when the girls got up and declared, "It must be time to light the Shabbos candles." They startled us completely. We did not realize that it was Friday, and if we did, it would hold no meaning for us, for we did not know Shabbos for such a long time. The girls put on fresh white kerchiefs over their shaven heads and then lit the candles. The room seemed suddenly transformed, warm and aglow. We got up shyly and awkwardly, and we kissed the girls on the cheeks. And with difficulty, we got out the long forgotten words, "Good Shabbos." Someone quietly sang Shalom Aleichem, and the rest of us picked it up slowly and haltingly. We linked arms in embrace, and the first tears of freedom streaking down our cheeks in sadness and in the pathos of the moment. Gradually, our voices grew stronger and louder in a note of defiance and hope for we were here. As long as there are Jewish women, there will be Jewish homes, a Jewish way of life, Jewish children, and a Jewish future. Our guide referred to us as the spark. We women can bring the Jewish spark back to the world. This is now me saying this. Emma and Sydney, don't just be the spark, be a bonfire. Be a frickin' bonfire. Bring light into this world, bring Judaism into your home. We are counting on you girls, to carry on our Jewish identity. I'm so proud of you, Emma. You will always be my light, my bonfire. I love you.
Wonderful. Really beautiful. All right, stay up there, Mom and Dad. Sid, we're going to ask you to stand up as well. Everyone, please rise. On page 40, Sydney, will you walk up to the ark with Emma and your parents in tow and open the ark as a family together?
Aleinu l'shabech, page 40. Aleinu l'shabech l'adon hakol, l'tait gidula l'yotzer breshit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, v'la samanu k'mishpachat adama, shelo sam chalkinu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonam, v'anachnu kor'im, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
Close the ark. We ask everyone to be seated. Family, come to the bima together. So Rabbi Rachel talked about the chains of tradition that are present, or we believe are present at this time of joy. You mentioned your grandfather, Marshall Rosenfeld, as a way of bringing his presence and his smile to this moment, knowing that he would be so pleased and so proud of you and your family and what you are doing and continue to do. Friends, our mourner's cottage can be found on page 41. I would ask those who are in this space or wherever you are, if you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days of mourning a loved one's burial, we ask you to rise and remain standing. If you're in the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, we ask you to rise and remain standing. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise. And if it is your custom to rise either in solidarity or for those who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask you to do so now. Mourner's Kaddish on page 41. Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Me Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach yote ve'amlich malchute. V'chayechon yomechon v'chaye d'chol Beit Yisrael. V'galav yizman kari v'imru.
Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivarach Le'olam Le'omei Omaya. Yitbarach.
Yishtafach v'yitba'ar v'yitraman v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalah Shmei d'kudsha.
Barichu.
La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiram v'yama v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
O say shalom v'imru ma. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen. Oh, say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen.
Realm the bracha, may their memories be for us a blessing. Okay, family, as you are shifting to your left, you will see Kiddush cups and challah. Following Kiddush and Hamotzi, we're going to have a montage. For those who are on Zoom, stick around for the montage and to say Shabbat Shalom. And for those guests who are in town, there's going to be a celebration in the Temple Emanu-El parking lot very soon.
Please rise. Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asat et ha-Shabbat. We'll do that again. Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asat et ha-Shabbat. Lidorotam berit olam. Hold those Kiddush cups nice and high. We join together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pari hagafen. Shabbat shalom.
L'chaim lebracha, to life with blessings. Okay, Emma, Sydney, will you pick up the challah and unveil it? Go ahead.
Voila, challah.
Voila, challah.
All right, hold it up nice and high as we bless it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat shalom. Have a bite of challah. Simin tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tovu, mazel tovu, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu, 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 Uvekal Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uvekal Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uvekal Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Uvekal Yisrael.
Mazel tov, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Mazel
Happy
tov.
Hanukkah.
Shabbat shalom.